This is gonna be one hell of an episode.
Hello,
Good.
darkness,
Morgan,
my
test.
old friend.
Hello.
Okay, good.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. I've come to talk to you again. Hey, Johnny.
Alrighty.
We ready.
We ready.
Hurry up.
All right.
What?
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a special topic for tonight's podcast. We are going to be having a debate between two debaters. My name is Scott Anderson. I will be tonight's moderator. And tonight's topic we are actually going into is the greatest of all time in terms of NFL football. Tonight's two debaters need no introduction, but I'm going to give you one anyway. To my left, we have Morgan Friedman, and to my right, we have Brendan Campos. Just want to go over a couple of ground rules. When you're making a point, let the other debater finish their point. I don't want any interruptions. I'm going to be very nonpartisan, not going to take either sides. So I just want to lay that out. I can speak from experience. These two are very, very passionate about this subject, be it Snapchat, Instagram, just basic text messages. They go on and on. 24 hours a day, no breaks, to the point where I get flooded with so many messages, it's harder to keep up. At this point, they probably, if you took all the messages, they've probably
It
sent.
wouldn't be so hard to keep up if you could read at a basic level.
Regardless,
Same with
if
you,
you
Morgan.
took all these messages,
I keep up plenty.
if you take all the messages they've sent to each other over these years, you could probably write a pretty decently long novel. So anyway, we're gonna kick into the topic tonight. Is there anything you guys want to add before we start this off?
Before you go into that, Scotty, that was a great intro. Awesome job. I am super ready for this debate. I got my big ass jug water here.
I think you should have water regardless.
I mean, but
It's
like
gonna be a long talk.
I got like a big ass water because I know what I'm about to go up against. We actually never had like a formal debate about this subject, and we've always just been arguing it like behind like a screen. So
Or over PS4.
Do you wanna
or
get-
over PS4.
Do you
yeah.
want to give him some water? There's gonna be a lot of talk.
Oh, yeah.
I want to
Do you-
get some dry mouth going.
Do you want
on.
water?
Yeah,
I mean, like
just
I
say-
drank
yeah, I
these
don't care,
already.
that's
Okay.
fine.
COVID.
Give me all the COVID.
Just mix it into one bottle.
Don't tell me what to do.
Alrighty, Scotty, that was all I needed to go. So it's your turn. Go.
All right. So with that being said, let's kick it off. So first question. So when you're making the decision for greatest of all time, what characteristics do you two both look for? We're gonna start off with Brandon.
Off the top of my head, I'm sure they're gonna come to me, but definitely adaptability, clutchness, smartness, like IQ and things like that is very, very important. Also versatility, athleticism. That's all I can think of right now.
All right, Morgan, respond.
For me, I'd say clutchness is really important. I'd say longevity, how long you're able to do it, and consistency, how long you're able to be consistent doing it for. I think your health overall, like how often you get injured, plays a big role for me. I think like you should be able to protect your body and condition well enough that you don't get injured very often, at least. You need to be there for your team. And then I think that's about it. I would say those are the main ones.
One of the things that he did mention that I also agree with is consistency. I think there needs to be consistency with with your quarterback or with whoever you have on your team being measured as like the greatest of all time.
I thought of another one.
All right.
How much success you're able to have with the least amount of help around you.
That's also
Okay.
a great point too.
I would say that's important
Yep.
for me.
All right. Okay, cool. So leading into the next question, so we talked about characteristics. Now let's talk about what actually you look in other than characteristics. Stat sheet, do you look at the amount of wins this player has, win-loss ratio, how many Super Bowls they have, do they have Super Bowls, playoff record, the amount of years they played, how high they played at a prime level, and also their stat sheet and their film. What do you guys kind of look at for that?
I'd say that I take that into consideration. I definitely take statistics and wins and losses and Super Bowls all into consideration, but you have to look at the variables behind it. If you can have a good player, or you can have a player that's won a bunch of Super Bowls but has constantly had a good team around him when he did it, and I mean, you'll still be on a great level, but I think to get to that GOAT level of where you are the greatest of all time, I think you need to have carried teams.
That elite status, basically.
Yeah, exactly. And as for statistics, once again, like, stats can be inflated, but I still think they need to be looked at, especially for a whole career, because I think that kind of averages out and takes out a lot of those variables. Whereas if you only looked at one game or one season, I think there are a lot more variables and inflation, a lot more things that could lead to inflated stats.
Yeah, kind of like garbage time numbers almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that stats. I think stats can be inflated. I think stats are also important too, but not as important as most may think. Like I don't know, completions. I don't think that's like a good stat like to use, because I feel like you can inflate that.
Do you mean completions or completion percentage? Completions, right?
Completions,
Okay.
yeah, yeah, basically like how many times like a pass was completed from a quarterback to a receiver. I mean, a lot of great quarterbacks and a lot of good quarterbacks have boosted up those numbers. I think that like there's a lot of things, like there's a lot of factors that you need to look at, like touchdown to interception ratio. I think that's a good stat. Also looking at rankings as well, between offenses and defenses, I think is a good stat to look at. Overall, I like looking at film. I think film is a great way. I think that's the best evidence that you can get when it comes to football, because that's basically how football is played. Like coaches, players, they look at film. That's how they, see how great a quarterback is or a player. So film is also like very, very good.
All right. More so a question just for Brendan. Knowing that you actually played football for a decent amount of time, middle school, high school, would you say that might actually give you more of an advantage when it comes to picking the greatest of all time over Morgan, who played some, football with friends, but never actually played on like a team basis?
Yeah. I think I do have a little bit of an advantage over Morgan in that sense. Not great though, because like I've only had like 5 years of experience compared to his 0. That's not really that much. I think there's like still more that I can learn, even if I did play a little bit more football. But yeah, I do think I have that advantage. I know how like the game is played day to day. I've experienced it. It's nothing really that different from how I played it to how the NFL plays it. It's all similar. It's very alike in that sense. So for someone who plays pickup, I mean, they may know a lot, but they won't know like somebody who has actually played the game day to day for 5 years, But I'm not going to say that I know a lot about football, because I don't have that experience like college football players, NFL football players, coaches, So, but I think a lot of fans out there are dumb in a sense because they think that Tom Brady is the GOAT, but because like they're blinded with the with the Super Bowl rings. So yeah.
All right, so now I'm going to have a personal question for Morgan, and it's actually going to kind of tail off of what I said to him. So with that being said, what Brendan said, since you didn't play on a team sport, do you think that at all kind of hampers your credibility when it comes to picking who you think is the greatest of all time, or do you think that's just hearsay?
I don't think it plays a big role at all, especially maybe if he played at a college level or like a real competitive high school, but our high school football team was a joke.
It doesn't mean anything really.
Yeah.
Suck or not, I was still doing the day-to-day. I was still participating,
yeah, I mean, you were participating
in all aspects of football.
But that doesn't. What does that add when determining a GOAT credibility? You went through running drills, but
I've been there in front. I've witnessed it firsthand. You haven't witnessed it
what though?
Firsthand, playing on the field.
Yeah, but
seeing how the game is actually played, not pickup. Pickup is totally different.
It's completely but you saying that our high school team was similar in any way to the NFL is completely ridiculous because it's completely different play styles. Our high school team ran
similar. I'm not saying that it's totally alike.
All right, let's don't try to talk over each other.
It's not even similar because we ran the ball 95% of the time. That's completely different to the play style in the NFL.
Yeah, play style is different, but I'm talking about the day to day.
What you think?
Do you watch film when you're playing pickup games?
No.
Exactly.
But what does that have to do?
That's another
aspect. What does that have to
do
do with the GOAT factor?
Because you say that you want to look at statistics more than film. Film is more so of evidence than statistics is because it's inflated. It's inflated. Once you recognize greatness when you see it for yourself.
Okay, but if you pull up film from a game, say Scott was the quarterback in the NFL, and you pull up film from 3 of his bad games throughout a season, but then he was fantastic the rest of the season, that could be inflated or misleading also.
How so?
Because you're only pulling film from those games where he did something wrong or made mistakes.
But you're watching.
You can be picky and choosy with which films you bring up.
No, you're watching film every week. You're watching everyone's film every single week.
Okay, but how do you bring film up as a factor in a debate though? You could be
you can bring up clips. Well, I mean, in this debate, you can't really.
For example, Tom Brady's had a 21-year career. How are you going to bring up enough clips to account for that whole career?
You have to watch the game. You have to.
Well, yeah, we all watched it, but how are you going to account?
How are
you going to account for a whole career only using tape? You'd have to put a whole movie together to get enough tape to truly give it a perspective of what his career is.
But a lot of people when they watch film, they don't really recognize what's happening in behind the scenes.
All right. So with all that being said, we talked about stats, we talked about characteristics, all that good stuff, and what actually goes into picking the greatest of all time. So I want to get to the main good stuff. Who do you guys personally think is the greatest of all time? Morgan, I'm going to start with you.
Tom Brady.
Okay. Brendan, who do you personally think is the greatest of all time?
I'm going to go with my boy, Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so let's dive into this a little bit more. Let's get some thinking behind it.
To start, I'd like to say I think Brendan has a huge bias going into this.
All right,
I think he's a Packers fan, but I just want to point out I'm a Seahawks fan, so I have literally no bias towards Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And if anything, Tom Brady ruined Russell Wilson's chances at a second Super Bowl. So if anything, I should hate him, but I can't hate him.
But wouldn't you also say it wasn't also just Tom Brady, it was the Patriots team as a whole?
Yes, but I think Tom Brady played a big role in that game.
He did play a big role, but also the defense played a big role.
Well, yeah, no matter what you do in football, it has to be a team effort.
Exactly.
Even if a quarterback does well, that means the receivers also have to do well.
Absolutely.
So, no matter what, but the level of how much each player contributes to that win, I guess I would say, I would put Tom Brady is
based around the QB.
Yeah, I think a lot of people see that Super Bowl and think Malcolm Butler won that game, but I don't think that's fair to say because that's one play.
I'm not
There's
arguing.
A lot of stuff that happened before that could have changed the outcome of the game. I don't like when people focus on only what happened late in a game.
Oh, definitely.
Because that takes away everything that happened prior.
It definitely was just one play. I was just more so pointing out that it's a team game, as we all say. QB is an important position, but if he doesn't make that play or some plays don't get made, it might have turned out differently. So with that being said...
That happens in every game, no matter what.
Exactly. So with that being said, Brendan, why do you personally think, we're going to dive into this and then we'll get into a bigger scale with more questions, but on just a basic little level here, why do you personally think Aaron Rodgers is the greatest of all time while still currently playing?
All right. Morgan did bring up something about with me being biased. I do want to say that I did not like Aaron Rodgers when he first started. I actually followed Brett Favre into the Vikings. So at first I did not like Aaron Rodgers.
Who cares? You were like 11 years old when Aaron Rodgers first started.
I was okay, but you're saying that I'm
yeah,
biased.
And that can change. Your bias can change. Just because you weren't biased, just because you didn't like someone at one point and weren't biased towards them, doesn't mean like 13 years later you don't have more of a bias.
Okay. And then when Tom Brady won the Super Bowl against the Seahawks, I was also rooting for the Patriots and Tom Brady that year too. So I'm not biased against Tom Brady either. I just see like how I see it, how the game is played. Especially, I
didn't
from
say
being
you were biased towards Tom Brady. I said you were biased
towards
Aaron Rodgers.
Towards Aaron Rodgers,
yeah.
And I did say that I did not like Aaron Rodgers. I did not like him.
But what does that have to do with current day today? Do you have a
bias
today? Yes or no?
Because after what I saw, from what I saw from Aaron Rodgers.
Fan.
Yeah, but from what I saw from Aaron Rodgers, I started liking him. I thought he was the greatest of all time.
He won you guys a Super Bowl. He's played well, but so you have a bias towards him. He's your quarterback. Just I have a bias towards Russell Wilson. I want to root for Russell Wilson. I want to make Russell Wilson seem better than he is. You have a bias.
No, I don't have a bias.
I think it would be a lot more open and I think it would I feel like anyone that knows you're a Packers fan can be like, yeah, obviously you're gonna have a bias. Just like Joe and Scott have a bias towards Eli Manning. Like they see Eli Manning in a higher level than we see him.
I don't know. For me, not liking Aaron Rodgers, I cannot see myself having some sort of bias, like before seeing how great he was, and now saying that he's great now. I developed that like for
doing
him.
Well for your team.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
You could see him at a higher level because he's done well for your team. You appreciate him more than we do. That's a bias. You have a bias towards him for that reason. Whereas Tom Brady, I have absolutely no bias. I want to see the Patriots lose most of the time because I feel like they win so much. Mm. So if anything, I've
it was on the Patriots, now on the Buccaneers.
Yeah, on the Buccaneers now. But
we know what you mean. Basically.
Tom Brady wins all the time. I like rooting for underdogs. Tom Brady's not. He was an underdog at one point, but he's not an underdog anymore. And I don't know. I have absolutely no bias towards him. I don't have any appreciation for what he's done for my team the way you have it for Aaron Rodgers. So I think you have some form of bias.
So we'll go off the fact that maybe or maybe not you might have a bias, but that doesn't answer my main question. What on not a basic level, but to start this, what made you change to now consider Aaron Rodgers to be the greatest of all time?
After seeing him play, after him being clutch, throughout his career and everything. I mean, there is a stat out there that he's 0-51 against teams that are
that have a winning record. When he's down at halftime
exactly
by 1 or more points.
Yep, and that's a crappy stat because there's been times where he has pulled through at the very end of those games, and then his crappy defense at the end would bring him down, bring the whole team down, Packers team down, and the Packers will end up losing. So the thing is, he has pulled up front in those games. The team didn't finish.
He really hasn't been that clutch. He literally only has 16 comebacks his whole career and 24 game-winning drives, whereas Tom Brady has 47 game-winning drives and 38 comebacks.
Okay, but
way more.
But the thing is, he has come back, but he's lost at the very end of those games because of defense.
Yeah, everyone has that.
That's why I'm saying that stat is stupid.
It does mean something
it's
because
stupid.
everyone's
it's a
playing
stupid stat.
It's
a stupid stat. So, anyways, to go back to what I was saying, Aaron Rodgers has not had that great of a defense the majority of his career. He had two great defenses throughout his time being with the Packers. One was being in the Super Bowl, and one was making it to the conference championship. However, Tom Brady has been under a system all of his career under Bill Belichick, and now he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now with a super team. I don't know.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that.
That smells fraud to me.
We'll get into that. So that's your basis for Aaron Rodgers. Okay, so now I want to go into Morgan's basis, and then after
First, I have to rebound to that.
All right. So
you want to bring up Bill Belichick, but prior to Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, 1991 season as the head coach of the Browns, 6-10. Next season, 7-9. Next season, 7-9. Next season, he finally got a winning record, 11-5, and you're like, wow, maybe he was just rebuilding those other years. The year right after that, 5-11. And then with Tom Brady, he did not have a losing season. And now that Tom Brady's off the team, and you can't even say he has that bad of a quarterback. Cam Newton was an MVP of the league at one point in his career. 3-5.
Tom Brady.
Meanwhile, you always said, yeah, Tom Brady's only good because of Bill Belichick. Meanwhile, now he's playing under Bruce Arians, who's not a great coach. He's literally like 1-2 in the playoffs. He hasn't done anything with his career, and he's having a better season, or he's off to at least a better start than he has on the Patriots under Bill Belichick than he has had in the last 6-7 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so now let's get into the basis. Why do you say Tom Brady?
I think Tom Brady's done it more consistently than anyone else. I think he's done it at over an extremely long span. I think though wins don't account for everything, he has a really good winning percentage. I think he's done it with little help around him. You can name a lot better Packers receivers that Aaron Rodgers has had than Tom Brady has had throughout his career.
Wrong.
I also think that Tom Brady stayed healthy. I think Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers are probably, I would say they're at the same level in terms of intelligence for the game. I think they're both extremely smart. But yeah, I think, I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers can't get there eventually, but the fact that Brendan's saying he is already, it doesn't make sense. He's nowhere near
at that
longevity of what Tom Brady has done and how long Tom Brady's been able to be good for, under how many different circumstances Tom Brady's been able to do good for and succeed.
All right, so now let's crack this egg right open.
Okay, wait, hold on. I gotta.
You want to respond? Okay.
Yeah. So, Bill Belichick, wasn't successful before the Patriots.
Or now after.
Okay, hold on. But he's also been assistant coach where he has been successful. Also, hold up. He's also been.
Let me finish his point.
He also needs a quarterback in his system. I'm not saying that Tom Brady is not a good quarterback, because he is a good quarterback. But he's not the greatest of all time. He is a good quarterback, and that's something that Bill Belichick needed for the system. Tom Brady is a system quarterback. Now with Bill Belichick being with having Cam Newton is single-handedly killing that team right now. Single-handedly, and it's
Bill
also
Belichick's
Again,
you interrupt all the time. What are you talking about?
I said wrong.
Yeah, but before that you interrupted plenty of times.
I did not. I said wrong.
Brendan had the floor.
So Cam Newton is single-handedly taking that team down. Also, Bill Belichick is also having to deal with a different quarterback that is not Tom Brady. It's a totally different style of gameplay. So yeah, I can see Bill Belichick not being super successful right now because he doesn't have that same style of play from Tom Brady. Now Tom Brady is on a super team right now with a great ass defense, top 5 defense actually, and also a super team of an offense. So Tom Brady being in a system most of his career, now coming off of the team with a super team. I don't know. That doesn't do really much for me.
Okay, Tom Brady is literally 43 years old, putting up just as good of numbers as Aaron Rodgers.
Because he has
at
a
43.
Super team.
Sure. Aaron Rodgers has had plenty of super teams. Yet Tom Brady is 43 years
old. Guys, Morgan has the floor.
Tom Brady is 43 years old and playing just as well. And let's take defense out of it. Aaron Rodgers has still had more complete offenses and more talent on offense than Brady has this year. And yet Tom Brady's still doing just as well as Aaron Rodgers has done with those teams.
I wouldn't take defense out of it because this is how people think of success.
Let's Morgan finish his point.
One more thing. Tom Brady is also in his first year with a whole new team and a whole new system. You call Tom Brady a system quarterback, yet he's in a whole new system.
The great ass team.
Away.
Super team.
It's not that much of a super team.
is.
Mike Evans has been playing injured all season. Chris Godwin's been out more games than he's played. Leonard Fournette's been injured. O.J. Howard injured early. Gronk has just been able to start playing.
He has a whole 50% defense.
Can I just?
That defense
team.
is very inconsistent.
It's still a top 5 defense. It's still a top 5 defense.
One at a time.
Defense wins championships. You hear it all the time.
Can I just mention though? Didn't the Buccaneers just get demolished by the Saints, like blown out?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
So wouldn't that argument more so be the Saints are more of a super team since they just blown out?
You could make that argument.
No, that's based off of one. That's based off of one.
But that was a
game.
throbbing.
And that was the second loss of the season.
Yes,
against
and
the Saints.
maybe the Saints have seen something that is wrong with Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that not all the other teams are seeing. I'm telling you, man. There's a system to everything, and the Patriots all those years has had a bigger system than any other team out there all these years.
I don't
defense and offense.
I think Bill Belichick was never successful as a head coach without Tom Brady, and you're like,
I can back that.
And you're like, yeah, it's because but he's had success as an assistant coach.
He did have that one successful season with Matt Castle though.
That's right.
When Tom Brady got injured,
They went 11-5, missed the playoffs, but went 11-5.
But that was literally the season right after the Patriots had their best team ever.
They still had really good players on that team.
I will say that team was fantastic.
It made it easier for Matt Castle.
That's early like the year that the Packers went to the Super Bowl in 2011. Literally, that offense was so stacked. They had Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, and there was one more, Greg Jennings.
Yes.
And literally, that offensive line had TJ Lang, I forget that center's name, but he was a Pro Bowler that year. Mm-hmm. They had Brian Bulaga and David Bakhtiari.
Yes, that team is the greatest team of all time, I think.
And to put into
arguably.
perspective how good of a team Aaron Rodgers needs around him to actually win a Super Bowl, Matt Flynn started a game that season. He threw 6 touchdowns and almost 500 yards with that offense.
I do.
Yeah.
That's how much help Aaron Rodgers needs around him to actually win a Super Bowl.
And then once Matt Flynn left, it kind of went a little bit down.
Well, no. Matt Flynn got traded to the Seahawks after that season, but everyone thought
he never had a performance like that again, is what I'm saying.
No, yeah, he never started again.
Yeah.
Literally, I don't think he ever started a game after that. He was supposed to be the Seahawks' new quarterback, but then Russell Wilson beat him out. And the thing was, they were like, wow, Matt Flynn must be amazing. He threw 6 touchdowns and almost 500 yards in his one start when Aaron Rodgers was, of course, injured.
Because
Aaron Rodgers gets injured.
I'm gonna have to stop this argument because I'm not going against him. Yes, that was the greatest team.
But you do continue to argue. You do continue to interrupt when he's making a point, though.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm interrupting because we're not arguing about that. We're arguing about Tom Brady.
Well,
and
Aaron Rodgers.
That
was the one.
I don't know
time
why Matt Flynn is getting involved in
because
this.
I'm
and I don't know why. I
he's
don't
trying
know
to
why.
make a point. I'm pretty sure. Though.
I don't know. Okay, go.
I'm pointing out that was the one good team, or the one team Aaron Rodgers was actually able to bring to a Super Bowl and win.
Yeah.
And it was a team so good that Matt Flynn fucking could have brought that team to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and
that's how much Aaron Rodgers. I'm saying that's how much help Aaron Rodgers needs around him to win a Super Bowl. Whereas Tom Brady
has a whole damn system under Bill Belichick,
I don't think he has,
under all these receivers with a top 10 defense for the past decade. Do you know how many times there was 9 seasons that Tom Brady had a top 10 defense?
So
Aaron Rodgers has had 2.
So less than half of his career.
One at a time.
So less than that's still less than half of his carear.
But
that's still less than half of his career. And
okay, but that's over just one decade. That's 9. That's 9 out of 10. How many have there had before that?
Wait, yeah, it's
9 out of 10.
Played 2 decades though. So
yeah,
it's not even half of his career that he's had, and yet he's successful every single season.
Yeah, and
when has he not made it to at least the fucking championship game? I'm pretty sure he's made it to the championship game, like literally like 16 out of his 20 seasons with the Patriots.
It's been more frequent this decade than 2000, 2010.
Okay, and he still won Super Bowls then.
But yeah, but I'm saying it's because he has a top 10
And he still made it to championship games almost every...
nine seasons.
He still made it to the AFC Championship almost every single season.
Because he's under a fucking system with Bill Belichick.
Yeah, but you just said it's because he has...
He's also had a great-ass fucking receiving core. Yes, he has. Dude, Rob Gronkowski, he's the greatest tight end of all time.
Do you realize how often...
When has Aaron Rodgers had the greatest of all time on his team? When? Tell me. When?
A tight end. And you're literally always the one you're like, yeah, I don't want one specific good player. I want a whole team. Yeah, well, guess what? Aaron Rodgers had a team where he literally got to throw to Jordy Nelson. He literally got to throw to Randall Cobb, Devontae Adams, all in the same season. Then he also had multiple seasons where he got to throw to Donald Driver, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb.
Yep. And
Greg Jennings.
Yeah, Jimmy. What about the one half of the team? 50% of the team, defense, and not to be shown for. Defense is none to be show for. You have no defense all those years. You have all these receivers that you name, but you have no defense. However, you have Tom Brady with all these receivers, and then you also have a top 10 defense almost every single fucking year in the past decade.
Okay, well, Tom Brady also hasn't had as good of an offensive line as him. He hasn't had as good of weapons. I don't know what you're talking about.
You have Rob Gronkowski.
Wow.
You have Julian Edelman. You have Danny Amendola. You have Benjamin Watson. You have Randy Moss. You have Wes Welker.
He had Randy Moss for 2 seasons of his whole career. Come on. And the 1 year he did have
one at a time.
Aaron Rodgers had Greg Jennings twice in his career. 2 times. That's it. 2.
All right.
Same as Randy Moss.
What about he had Jordy Nelson pretty much Jordy's whole career. He's had Devontae's whole career. He had Randall Cobb for literally 90% of Randall Cobb's career.
Randall Cobb isn't a great receiver.
He's had a top 5 offense. Yeah, but you're saying Randall Cobb doesn't count, but fucking Danny Amendola does?
It's because it's under a fucking system.
Can I just bring in a point?
The reason why you don't see...
Can I just bring in a point?
The reason why you don't see these like Chris Hogan and Danny Amendola doing great after they go to the Patriots because they're under a fucking system under a Bill Belichick.
Why isn't Bill Belichick's system working out well now?
Because he has a past.
One at a time.
No,
Cam Newton's stupid. He's overthrowing balls left and right. He can't make a pass. Tom Brady can make passes.
Okay, but Bill's so good. If Bill is
guys, one at a time.
It's two different systems here.
But
two different play styles.
I want to point out
Tom Brady's a thrower. Okay,
I want to point out
under Bill Belichick's system, it's a throwing quarterback. It's not Cam Newton. Right. And I'm pretty sure Cam Newton has came to the fucking Patriots last fucking minute.
Okay, Brandon, you made your point. Let's let Morgan make his point. I really want to get these interruptions down.
Where's their improvement in adapting to Cam Newton when you have Cam Newton last minute to start a season?
That was his decision. Maybe if Bill Belichick's such a great coach, he should have figured that out before. That's Bill Belichick. That's coaching.
All right, let me kind of bring it back.
And also, wait, he just made that.
All right.
And then also,
how do you know that was Bill Belichick's decision?
He's the coach. He's the head coach.
It doesn't matter.
You know him and Robert Kraft run that shit.
It doesn't matter. You don't know if that's.
And you know what? You know what's funny?
It's
funny how like not very many players were like, yeah, I'm not playing because of COVID. Yet Patrick Chung and Devin McCourty both did it. You know why? Because they knew Tom Brady was gone. They're like, I'm not going to go out there and play for this shit team. Bill Belichick did not prepare for Tom Brady to leave. He knew Brady was leaving. Everyone knew his time was coming to an end. Yet Bill Belichick did not prepare for that. Bill Belichick, if he was such a great coach, he'd be able to make it work with Cam Newton. Worse coaches have made it work with worse quarterbacks before. And how the Patriots look this season is god-awful. They barely beat the Jets. And guess what? That's a lot of coaching. Motivating your players. Guess what? If his players believed in him and believed they had a chance of going to the Super Bowl with just about Bill Belichick, guess what? Devin McCourty and Patrick Chung, they would not be sitting at home this season. Because it's Tom Brady.
You wouldn't pass up on an opportunity to play with Tom Brady, basically.
No, and also you can try and say, prior to this, you were like, I would love to see Tom Brady go and do anything else with any other coach.
Yeah, and,
he
he has
won't,
that, and now
he
now
has
it's a super team.
Yeah. His offense is
top 5 defense. Top 5 defense.
Wow,
man.
wow, top 5 defense.
And
Do you
Rob
know how many?
Gronkowski. He has Mike
Wow,
Evans. He has
guys,
Chris
one at a
Godwin,
time.
Leonard Fournette.
Brendan, let Morgan finish his point, then we can get to you.
Like 35-year-old Rob Gronkowski coming
Greatest
off
of all time.
coming off a
Greatest
season.
of all time. Greatest
That's
tight end of
one
all
that's
time.
Why don't we even
arguable
try?
because I don't think Gronk. I think
number
is
1 or number
Gronk.
2.
Gronk is probably the most
When
dominant.
has Aaron Rodgers had
Okay,
number 1
guys,
number 2?
guys, let's bring it in. We're getting a little bit.
1 or 2 tight end, do you mean, or 1 or 2 anything?
Anything.
Are you kidding me?
Anything.
Jordy Nelson.
Jordy Nelson, not a number 1, number 2 of all
Devontae
time.
Adams.
Of all time.
Oh, all time. You didn't
Yeah.
say all time. I thought you meant for that season. But
I
also,
did say all the time. I'm pretty
Donald
sure.
Driver is not 1 or 2 all time, but Donald Driver is a legendary receiver. Jordy Nelson is
Almost like Hines Ward's was legendary on the Steelers.
like you don't, and tight end is so much easier of a position to get to a 1 or 2 rank. There's been so far fewer, and they have been relevant for so much less time. So there's a lot less like.
You don't really see tight ends putting up crazy numbers either.
Yeah,
until
because,
recently.
because it also depends on what like the team decides to do. A lot of teams don't like having their tight ends be receivers.
You also have some tight ends that also kind of match up more like wide receivers with their body setup.
It all depends. But like saying that just because Tom Brady had Gronk, and it's not even fair to say Gronk because Gronk's injured half the time he's
Very
in.
injury prone.
His whole career, like out of all the games he could have played,
How many
he
full
probably
seasons
missed
did
them.
he actually play?
I think he only had like 1 full season where he did not miss a single game.
That's saying a lot. All right, so let me get into a question for Brendan. So you mentioned clutchness in terms of Aaron Rodgers. Now I just want to kind of dive into that topic. Aaron Rodgers, as we know, only has 1 Super Bowl. He's only been to 1 Super Bowl playoff record. He's been in some NFC Championship games. Has only been able to get in through 1. Mm-hmm. So when you say clutchness, in terms of when it really matters, wouldn't you kind of say he's not as clutch then? Because he's not winning the big games where it matters. He might win divisional championships. He might get to the NFC Championship game, but he's not punching in that ticket for his team. Wouldn't you kind of say that clutchness factor isn't really there then?
No, he is definitely clutch. He does. Okay, the thing is, he's had only 2 great defenses in the past decade over Tom Brady's 9. That's 50% of the whole fucking team right there. On top of that, you don't like he's had Devontae Adams also, and I guess arguably like Jordy Nelson with and making it far into the playoffs, like the conference championships and like that, with not having a great defense like whatsoever.
So do you think he needs an offensive line, all good receivers, and a defense? He needs all of that because Tom Brady's won Super Bowls without top 10 defenses. He's won Super Bowls without a top 10 O-line. He's won Super Bowls with Julian Edelman, a 7th round pick that was a quarterback.
Chris Hogan.
He's done absolutely nothing. Like he's won it with all these no-name guys. He's won Super Bowls without that much help, and that was the point I was making earlier.
Brendan LaFell.
That was
also,
the point I was making earlier.
Okay.
Rodgers has only been able to win when he did have all that line up, where he had a good offensive line, probably one of the best receiving cores of all time, and a good defense. That's why
that was
ranks,
1 Super Bowl.
Yeah, and that's all he's been able to get to.
Yes.
Plus, he's had other teams where he may have had a top 5 O-line and a good receiving core, yet the defense was lackluster. And
was
yet
terrible,
and yet he couldn't win. I mean, Patrick Mahomes made it deep into the playoffs that season where the Chiefs defense was ranked 31st.
Okay, yeah, and
he literally missed the playoffs.
He has potential. He has potential.
Yeah, I know, but he literally only lost that game to the Patriots too because the defensive end lined up offsides. If that hadn't happened, the Chiefs would have won, and he would have made it to a Super Bowl with the 31st ranked defense. So why can't Aaron Rodgers do that too?
Here's another thing. Tom Brady has been a part of a system of most of his career. Also, that system has been caught cheating 3 times. 3 times throughout that whole time.
That doesn't answer my question.
Okay.
You're completely changing the subject of what I just asked.
Okay, what's your question? Go ahead.
Why can't Aaron Rodgers win with a good offensive line, a great offensive line, a great receiving core, and a lackluster defense? Why does he need all 3 when Tom Brady's been able to do it with either a great O-line and a great defense but not a good receiving core, or he's done it with a good receiving core, bad O-line, good defense, or he's done it with good receiving core, good O-line, bad defense.
Because Tom Brady couldn't have done it without cheating and also not being on an offense on a system offense.
Even when the Patriots had a bad defense, I could be wrong about this. Didn't they always have, even when their defense wasn't that good, weren't they always pretty decent at turnover ratio though?
I'm not sure.
I
don't know.
even think for some of the bad teams, I could be wrong. Fact check is definitely fact check this, but I think there were some teams, even the bad defenses,
I think what you're thinking of is points defense.
Points defense, but I think they also were pretty good at getting turnovers as well.
I don't know.
And also, they've been caught 3 times. How many how many times? How many? Hold on. How many times have they done it without us knowing?
How many? That's all
we
speculative. You can't use that as an argument.
But there's evidence that he has cheated. That the team has cheated.
The only real cheating thing that counts in my eyes, Deflategate. No, fucking Harvard and NYU both did a study and said with the temperature of that game against the Colts, the balls would have naturally deflated. So that whole thing was bullshit, and everyone knows
it's
that.
It's fucking cold in Green Bay all the fucking time.
Yeah, so maybe they overinflate their balls. I don't know.
Dude, the fucking
to prepare, but literally,
guys, one at a time.
There was nothing like that.
There was nothing.
You got it. Yes, I am interrupting because I'm arguing stupidity.
But again, we agreed to
Harvard. I trust the Harvard kids' opinions and the NYU kids' opinions way more than I consider yours being like, oh well, it's cold in Green Bay all the time. Like they said it could with that temperature that it would happen naturally. Plus, they didn't even throw the ball that game, so it didn't make a difference. It was all run game. LeGarrette Blount.
They didn't throw the ball at all that game.
You know what I mean? They were relying on the run game. They were relying on the run game, so it made absolutely no difference. And the one time I would count it as cheating was when they recorded them. And guess who did that? Guess who relied on that? Bill Belichick, not Tom Brady. Bill Belichick did that. So guess what? He's so great.
It's team success.
He's so great.
It's team success.
Okay, but he's so great.
He's
so great.
He's affiliated to a system that is cheating.
He's so great. Bill Belichick is so great in your eyes. Yet he had to cheat, and he was the one that actually got caught because I don't count Deflategate. No one counts Deflategate.
A lot of people count Deflategate.
No one. But in regards to Deflategate, when they found that out at halftime, didn't the Colts actually do better in the second half?
Yeah.
They did better.
Or no, the Patriots did better. After they figured it out and they fixed the balls, that's when the Patriots started doing good. Yeah, without it being the other way around.
Also, when you say that that the Deflategate helps them with the throw, that's wrong. That's all. It also helps them with the run game. It's easier to grip a ball when it's flatter.
Sure,
when it's deflated.
Sure, that's fine, but that doesn't change the fact that Harvard and NYU said that happened naturally. That also doesn't change the fact that the Colts were using the same exact ball throughout the game. So if there was an advantage, they had that same exact advantage. Plus, it was a blowout that game, so it doesn't make much of a difference.
Nope.
In regards to
you're wrong. See,
how am I wrong?
Because you don't play football. The Colts have their own ball that they use, and the Patriots use their ball. It's not the Colts use the Patriots' ball. It's the Colts use their ball. The Patriots use their ball.
Can I just say?
Okay, but either way, they figured out.
You can't say that the Colts use that ball.
Can I just say something real quick? Didn't Aaron Rodgers come out?
That ball they didn't.
Didn't Aaron Rodgers?
That's not how the game works.
I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Didn't Aaron Rodgers come out and say after that he prefers
Aaron Rodgers says he does it all the time. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady literally,
but he prefers it to be under deflated.
No, he said we've all done it.
Yeah, he said
Aaron Rodgers was like,
deflated.
I prefer my balls to be under deflated. We've all done it. Underinflated.
Deflated.
Underinflated.
The same situation that
he said he prefers it how the balls were during that game.
Everyone can say that they prefer it.
But he literally said we've done it. We've all done it in the past.
All right,
he
admitted. Clip then.
All right, so Brendan.
Oh, and I also forgot to mention Brandon Cooks and Philip Dorsett when Tom Brady had this.
Brandon Cooks was on the team one season.
Yeah, but
what did Philip Dorsett do?
It was also during.
What did Philip Dorsett do?
It was also during a Super Bowl appearance.
But didn't the Packers?
He had it during the Eagles one, and he got injured in the first quarter. He got concussed.
Doesn't matter. You had Brandon Cooks the whole fucking season.
Yeah, who else that season?
You had Chris Hogan. You had Danny Amendola.
Julian Edelman was out that season. Chris Hogan, I don't think did anything.
Rob Gronkowski.
Gronk,
No, wait. Was Gronk out for Falcons or was he out for Eagles? I'm not sure, but he was out for one of them.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, like he has receivers throughout the season. We're talking about season. We're not talking about one game, like how you want to bring up. Oh, we can't measure on one game. They had Brandon Cooks the whole game. I mean,
the whole season.
Like
yeah.
the whole season.
But who else? I just told you. I'd put Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams both above Brandon Cooks, and Aaron Rodgers got to throw to both of them in the same season, multiple seasons.
And a shit defense and a shit.
Do you realize the season you're talking about is the Eagles season?
Yeah.
The same team that gave up fucking 400 yards, almost 500 yards to Nick Foles.
Okay.
Nick fucking Foles.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about defense? Tom Brady put up over 500 yards that game.
Mm-hmm.
And lost.
Okay.
That's a real defense blowing it.
Okay.
And guess what? The same thing.
Tom Brady had a good.
One at a time, fellas. One at a time.
Once again, guess what? The same thing. Bill Belichick lost that game for him.
Yeah.
He benched Malcolm Butler for no fucking reason.
Hey.
Bill Belichick is not that great. I've named multiple times. Bill Belichick was the one that cheated. Bill Belichick has made a very bad decision in that Super Bowl.
So how come Bill Belichick is not being suspended for 4 games and Tom Brady is?
What do you mean? During that thing?
Yeah, Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick wasn't suspended for 4 games. It was Tom Brady.
Because it wasn't Bill Belichick they were recording.
And also, it
was the franchise, but Bill Belichick was in charge of that.
And let me also say that Bill Belichick was successful with a second and third string quarterback that year too. So it's all part of the system, okay? Tom Brady is like the same play style as Jimmy Garoppolo.
Also, I just want to say, based on what we were saying earlier, I just looked it up right here.
Mm-hmm.
The Colts had deflated balls also. Almost all the balls that game were deflated when checked.
What is this?
All the ones in red. All the ones in red, that's all the balls that were underinflated
is this
during the Colts.
Patriots
yeah,
Colts
during
game?
the Patriots Colts game. Which points exactly towards the weather deflated the balls. Cold weather deflates balls.
What reference is that?
Sigma zone.
Sigma zone? Okay.
Wait, hold on. Let me see that again.
Do you want to show that to the camera so everyone else can see it?
I'm seeing Patriots majority, and I'm seeing...
Yeah, those were the only Colts balls, but their balls were deflated too.
Under... Hold on, let me see this.
Breaks the phone. No evidence now.
Okay, first of all, these are all significantly lower for the Patriots. It's not even that significant with the Colts, man.
Okay, but they were playing.
It's so significant with the Patriots. With
either way,
with their ball.
Either way, they were still underinflated, so that would count as breaking the rules. And 2, that just shows if almost all the balls were underinflated, that kind of points towards the weather was probably what did it. If it was because if it was the Patriots doing it, don't you think that it would just be the Patriots ones that were underinflated? And who knows also, maybe Andrew Luck likes his balls at like 13.5 and Tom Brady starts his balls at like 12.5 PSI.
Some said they also
so maybe that's why there's such a big thing. Maybe they all went down 1, but since Andrew Luck likes his balls more inflated, maybe that's why it's still higher. But the point I'm trying to make is the fact that both teams had balls that were considered underinflated. So that kind of points towards the weather and exactly what Harvard and NYU studies said.
Patriots are more significant.
Wouldn't you say it's worse to use something like, I don't know, Stickum as opposed to underinflated balls? You know what Stickum is, right?
Stickum.
Stickum is the stuff that players in the 80s used to put on their gloves. Wouldn't you say something like that is more more effective to catch the ball rather than just an underinflated ball when you actually have a residue to make it easier to catch?
Yeah.
Yeah, so wouldn't you say that's more significant than an underinflated ball?
Yeah, but when has that happened on the Packers or the Patriots?
No, I'm just bringing up a point.
Okay. All right. Let's see here.
I say that because Jerry Rice has come out on record and said that he used to use
all the receivers use that.
Yeah,
and we also see. Okay, now we've been talking a lot about Tom Brady. I think we need to talk more about Aaron Rodgers.
All right, so let's go more into Aaron Rodgers.
Okay, so Aaron Rodgers has a much higher IQ than Tom Brady is. As I
How
said,
can you prove that? What evidence do you have to back that up?
okay, so you have Aaron Rodgers with an IQ of 103, and you have 103.1, and then you have Brady who is at 6 of all time.
Cite your source.
Also, NFL Pro Football. I forgot what it was.
Was it Pro Football Focus?
Yeah, I think so.
Pro
something
Football
like that, yeah.
Focus. Okay.
NFL passer rating career leaders.
That's passer rating. That's not football IQ.
Passer rating is football IQ.
No, that's how they performed.
Yeah, but
Football IQ is not passer rating.
it's
You get a passer rating each game. Yeah, he does have the highest passer rating.
Yeah,
That's not football IQ, though.
Okay, that's what I meant, but there isn't much of a difference between
Yes, there is.
player IQ
Yeah,
and
there's a
QBR.
huge difference.
How?
I'm pretty sure
How so?
Andrew Luck had the highest football IQ coming out of college. I'm pretty sure I remember.
You might be
which
right
makes
about
sense
that.
because he went to Stanford. He was a super smart guy. So I was going to say that's weird that Aaron Rodgers had the highest football IQ because I'm pretty sure it was Andrew Luck.
Not definite, but pretty sure that that's the case.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not like Aaron Rodgers' passer rating is one of the like big things that I give him credit for, but I think it's also hard to say that it'll stay there.
Okay,
Because you decline over time, and he still has like 9 years before he's at the age that Tom Brady's playing at, or not 9, 7 years. So a lot can happen then. His passer rating could go down, or it could stay the same. We don't know yet, and that's why a big reason why I think it's way too early to say Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT over Tom Brady.
Are you just going to cut off this whole portion of the podcast where it's just you searching on the computer?
Yeah, I might do our halftime break cut out. Okay, well, I meant QBR.
Yeah, and I just.
But I mean that also measures intelligence in some way.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
I mean, in some way, I guess you could say.
Well,
it
like
does,
that's what I mean when I say.
But still,
it.
that QBR has huge variables.
Okay,
behind
well,
it, like who
What does
is
QBR stand for? Quarterback?
well,
something
no, it's
rating?
not even QBR. It's passer rating.
Passer rating, yeah.
He has
They
the
call it
highest passer
QBR.
rating.
Yeah.
No, there's two different things. QBR is different than passer
But
rating.
what is that? What is that? Quarterback something rating?
Also,
What's the B stand
also
for?
Aaron
Quarterback
Rodgers.
rating.
Also, Aaron Rodgers has
QB rating.
B.
a much significant stat of the touchdown to interception ratio. I don't know about you, but interceptions.
It's not crazy different.
It's pretty significant.
It's not crazy different.
It's pretty significant.
No, it's not.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure
What's
Aaron Rodgers has a 1.4 interception percentage, and then Tom Brady's at 1.8 interception percentage. And interception percentage is on how many percent of your total throws, do you throw interceptions?
We're gonna fact check that. Bring it up. Let's get this fact check so we can get the correct results, and we're not just blowing smoke out of our assholes.
I got you. So, Aaron Rodgers, 4.51.
For interception ratio.
But before you continue,
Yep.
what source are you using? What website?
The football database.
Okay.
Tom Brady, 3.02.
Okay. That's still a really good one.
But that's a significant difference, though.
Yeah, but in terms of that touchdown to interception ratio, it's a difference. But in terms of interception percentage, which I think is more important, it's on how many percent of your throws do you throw interceptions. Aaron Rodgers is at 1.4 and Tom Brady's at 1.8. So that like kind of accounts for who's throwing more passes. Like it kind of balances out that.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that into consideration more. And both have a very good interception percentage.
And who has who beat?
I just said Aaron Rodgers has a 1.4, Tom Brady has a 1.8, but it's
Exactly.
not significant
But
enough,
I'm saying,
and it's
okay,
not
but I did say-
significantly important stat to put him above
I did say
Brady.
that touchdown to interception ratio was significant, which you said it wasn't at first, and then I'm
Well,
telling you
touchdown to interception ratio is different than interception percentage.
Yes, I understand that.
Yeah.
But you also did before when I said touchdown. I said touchdown and interception.
I thought you meant interception percentage. That's
Okay.
why I was saying that's what I meant is important.
So touchdown to interception ratio is significantly better for Aaron Rodgers. However, Aaron Rodgers does have Tom Brady beat in the interception percentage. So that's but like that there's another.
Well,
stat.
no, it's good. It's better to be lower, is what I'm saying, for
Yeah.
interception, because that means on 1.4% of his passes throughout his career, he threw interceptions, and Brady on 1.8% of his passes, he's thrown interceptions.
So
but that's not a big enough stat to put him over Brady.
Okay, but that's one stat that Aaron Rodgers has over Brady.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So there's one aspect.
Sure.
And then I said QBR.
Okay.
Okay.
But interceptions get counted into QBR. I'm pretty sure.
Okay, but
taken into
QBR
account
also
already.
measures a whole bunch of things other than interceptions.
Well, yeah.
Okay, so that's the whole. That basically the QBR is the majority of all the like basically has something to do with each stat.
Yeah.
In some way
Sure.
for a quarterback.
Sure. Yeah.
And Aaron Rodgers has that better than Tom Brady by a significant amount.
Okay, but one that doesn't take into consideration clutchness. Tom Brady's been far more clutch throughout his career. That doesn't take into consideration, like, that's one of those misleading ones, or can be misleading, because you also have to look at the variables of what offensive weapons Rodgers has had around him. And Rodgers has played on far better offenses than Brady has. And that's one of those stats that doesn't take defense into consideration at all. So QBR, that's strictly what you do on offense.
Okay.
So what I'm saying is Rodgers should have a better one than Brady because he's played on better offenses.
Yeah, but the thing is, Aaron Rodgers has. Okay, you can argue that Aaron Rodgers has had a better offense than Tom Brady has all of his career. You can argue that, but you can't argue the fact that Aaron Rodgers has had a shit defense the majority of his career.
That has nothing to do with his QBR. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah,
we were talking about QBR. We're not talking about defense.
I've been done with QBR. I've been done with it.
Okay, but so we have to point out that he may have a better QBR, but you also have to look at the variables. We said earlier you have to look at statistics, but you also have to take into consideration those variables.
Okay,
I'm saying Aaron Rodgers being 6 points ahead of Tom Brady in QBR isn't that impressive to me because Aaron Rodgers has played on far better offenses.
Okay, but you do say that stats is important, which I do.
Yeah, when you look at the variables,
which I'm bringing up, and I'm bringing up valid stats. I'm not bringing up stats.
No, I know, but we also that can be inflated based on the offensive weapons. QBR can be inflated.
Not as much,
and it could be benefited more because of the offensive weapons.
Not as much as completions and how many touchdowns somebody has gotten, and
I think touchdowns can be important because you have to be consistent throughout your whole career to have a lot of touchdowns.
But you even say that Aaron Rodgers inflates his touchdown record.
Yeah, he does.
Okay, so then you can't say that touchdowns is a reliable stat.
All statistics need to be looked at, but you take into the consideration the variables. So, like we all see, Aaron Rodgers loves throwing.
Wait, hold on. You see, right? You see what? What do you see?
We see Aaron Rodgers throw the ball from the 1 yard line a lot.
Yeah, where? On what? Where? Where do you see this?
I said TV's a good source.
Okay.
And we both agree that Aaron Rodgers does that a lot.
Okay.
So I don't need a stat because we both agree on that.
But let's just say that before this podcast, you did mention something that you can't just say, you can't say.
Okay, but the difference is we both can agree. The difference is we can both agree on that. We both say Aaron Rodgers throws the ball a lot on the 1 yard line when it's like first or second down. You agree with that? You see that a lot? Okay, so we both agree on that. We both see that. But the times you do it is when you go, yeah, Aaron Rodgers is more intelligent than Tom Brady. And I'm like, can you back that up? And you're like, I watch it live. That's not backing up his intelligence.
I also say QBR.
No, this is the first time. I'm actually impressed that you're bringing up statistics, and I'm really happy
God, I always bring up QBR. Oh, my God.
Well, yeah, you say Aaron Rodgers has the best QBR, but we also just talked about how...
I will say this personally. We have had conversations in the past where you did say at points that stats are a little bit overblown, and you can't always go off them. You did say that in the past.
I have said that a lot of stats are overblown, but there are stats that are reliable. Yeah. But the ones that you bring up to day to day are stats that are not relatable and inflated.
Like what?
This season, Tom Brady has Aaron Rodgers beat by most touchdowns. This game, Aaron Rodgers can't even make two touchdowns with 200 yards.
Don't worry. I know exactly what game you're thinking of, and that's coming up. Don't you worry. That's when Aaron Rodgers...
Hey, I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers has great games all the time.
No, yeah, but that was a pretty important game, and he blew it.
Speaking of that game, let's get to a little context. What game are you talking about?
Seahawks Packers NFC Championship
I
game.
wasn't even thinking about that.
Let's dive into your point. What made it go from Aaron Rodgers here to more of a tail nosedive?
That was Aaron Rodgers used to be in like my top 5. I thought he was phenomenal, but Aaron Rodgers to me just is not clutch. He does not come up in big moments. And Brendan loves to bring up, like, the defense lets Aaron Rodgers down all the time.
But what specifically in that game?
No, I know. I'm continuing.
Okay.
That game, the Packers defense got Aaron Rodgers 5 turnovers in the game. And do you know what Aaron Rodgers did that game? With those 5 turnovers, he threw for, like, 170 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 interceptions. And Brendan's like, oh, it's because the special teams couldn't recover the onside kick. One play does not make a whole game. Like, yeah, Aaron Rodgers had a 16-0 lead at halftime that game, and he blew it. And the thing is, Brendan's like, well, it was the Legion of Boom. It was so impressive. Guess what? Tom Brady played that same defense 2 weeks later in the Super Bowl.
Under a system.
Go ahead. 2 weeks later in the Super Bowl, and he threw for 400 yards, 4 touchdowns. Against that defense that Aaron Rodgers could only throw for 170 yards and 1 touchdown on.
Wait, that year Tom Brady did have a top 10 defense that year, didn't he? Yeah,
I don't think it was top 10 that year.
Did Aaron Rodgers have a top 10 defense? That's 50% of the whole team.
But he got him 5
Yeah, but what does that have?
Though.
That defense got him 5 turnovers that game. They were a fucking top 10 defense that game. And yet Aaron Rodgers lost.
But, like, what happened?
Aaron Rodgers absolutely fucking blew it that game.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did. Having 170 yards is shit.
1 touchdown, 2 interceptions.
Shit.
Go ahead.
Look up the stats. I have them all written down. And I'll point out, too. Okay, so against the Legion of Boom, Tom Brady, 37 for 50, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns. He was down by 10 going into the 4th quarter and pulled off a comeback against that Seahawks team.
Which you could also say Legion of Boom is probably top 10, top 5 defenses of all time.
Legion of Boom, I think, is the best defense of all time.
You can even argue that.
At least best secondary of all time.
One of the greatest defenses of all time. So there's a lot of merit to that.
Yeah. And then Tom Brady's best weapons that year, Julian Edelman and Gronk. And how did Tom Brady's defense perform against the Seahawks? They gave up 247 passing yards, 162 rushing yards, 2 passing touchdowns, 1 rushing touchdown, and only 1 turnover.
They gave up like 400 yards basically of total offense.
Yeah, and they only gave up 3 touchdowns, and their defense only got them 1 turnover that game. Whereas Aaron Rodgers was 19 for 34, 178 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. 2 interceptions. He blew a 16-point lead where Tom Brady came back from a 10-point. He blew a 16-point lead at half, whereas Tom Brady came back from a 10-point deficit in the 4th quarter. His weapons that season, he had Jordy Nelson, Devontae Adams, Randall Cobb, and a top 5 ranked offensive line. And how did his defense perform? They only gave up, once again...
Did they still have Ty Montgomery at that time?
No, it was Eddie Lacy at that time, too. And it was when Eddie Lacy was performing really well.
Before he gained all the weight.
Yeah, it was when Eddie Lacy was still performing really well. And the defense performance, the Packers' defense performed just as well in terms of yards. They gave up 400 total yards. They gave up 2 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns. But here's the big difference. The Packers' defense got the...
Can I just say something?
Wait, the Packers defense got Aaron Rodgers 5 turnovers that game. And you also have to take into consideration the defense had the same amount of yards, but like 70 of those yards came in overtime.
Did they still have Kuhn on that
team? And one
of
those touchdowns came in overtime.
Did they still have Kuhn on that team, the fullback? He was a decent player.
Yeah, he was, but fullbacks don't matter much.
Yeah, but he was decent.
That's the point. The Packers defense outperformed the Patriots defense by far in those 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
Outperformed by far.
Okay.
But the result was totally different.
And the thing was, Aaron Rodgers was playing with a 16-point lead. And Tom Brady had to come back against that defense from a 10-point deficit. Aaron Rodgers' defense got him 5 turnovers.
So going back to what we were arguing before, so touchdowns is a relatable stat then.
How did the Seahawks defense do against the Packers in that game?
Hold on, no. Can
The
he answer
Seahawks
question?
defense only got 2 turnovers.
All right, so yeah, answer Brendan's question.
So is touchdown is like stats like touchdowns and yards important then?
All time, yes. Because I
All
think
time touchdowns and
like for your whole career, I mean. Because like I think if you can go a whole career and end up leading the league in yards or touchdowns or like even being
having
the top five,
having some sort of milestone.
yeah, exactly. I think that's like an important milestone I think that's an important thing to look at because I think that shows the longevity and consistency, which I take into consideration.
I don't think you need to have that milestone. I think you just have to.
I don't think you need
some
it.
sort of milestone that
I don't
comes out. But anyways, does touchdowns and yards? Does it matter with, say, the season?
The season?
Games,
that's one of those things.
Seasons, games.
That's one of those things where
In
you have to
general.
look at variables.
Exactly.
So like if you're looking,
so you have to look at variables with that. You're saying that
okay, what are the variables?
Aaron Rodgers, fucking he like he can't get 200 yards. He only has 1 touchdown. He threw 2 interceptions. But what do those interceptions look like? How did the defense play? The
defense played very well.
Okay,
that game.
but you're looking at the stats of interceptions, but like how many yards did they?
I just said 400, the same amount as the Patriots gave up, except that's also including overtime. So if you take out those overtime yards, the Packers defense in the championship game far outperformed the Patriots defense in the Super Bowl.
And then what happened after those interceptions? I remember one of those interceptions. Morgan Burnett just lies on the ground thinking that the game is over.
He lied on the ground because he was about to get
No,
tackled.
he wasn't.
And he didn't.
No, he wasn't.
Search the clip.
I will
there was a
search
guy
the
in
clip.
front of him. I think he was playing it safe because he has someone that's supposed to be the GOAT. You'd think he'd be able to get a first down and run the clock out. But even then, 5 turnovers all game. Aaron Rodgers was only able to capitalize on like one of those turnovers. And the funny thing is, I believe 4 out of the 5, 4 of them had the Packers in the red zone. In the red zone, Aaron Rodgers got a start in the red zone 4 times, and he could only score 1 touchdown all out.
Morgan Burnett went down after an interception for no reason with 5 minutes left. Why?
Pull up the clip.
The big lead.
Pull up the clip. But even then,
is that the source? The big lead.
The source,
okay,
yes.
But even then, even if he did, Aaron Rodgers is supposed to be the GOAT. He couldn't get 1 first down.
Okay, we're talking about a fourth quarter here where Aaron
when
Rodgers,
he should be playing his best.
Yeah, and how many chances did he have in the fourth quarter, Morgan? He didn't have that much when.
Oh, he had plenty.
When there was a botch,
one
when there was a
time,
botch
boys,
special
one at
teams
a time.
play, a botch.
You want to hear the funniest part?
So
you want to hear the funniest part?
You're telling me that the
One at a
Seahawks
time.
have 2 consecutive offensive runs at the very end of the game, and then you don't have Aaron Rodgers in between there to take time off the clock? That is not Aaron Rodgers' fault.
They were down by 3 points. Aaron Rodgers had like 1 minute and 40 seconds left when they got the ball in the fourth quarter. If Aaron Rodgers was so clutch and was the GOAT, why didn't he score a touchdown there?
He's going up against the Legion of Boom.
Okay,
He's going up a great-ass
Tom
fucking
Brady was
defense.
able to fucking tear that defense apart.
As I said before,
he was able to absolutely embarrass that defense. I was like, when I watched that game, I was like, who the fuck is this defense? They do not look like a top 3 defense all time. They looked like absolute shit. Tom Brady tore them apart. He ripped them a new asshole.
Okay,
and Aaron Rodgers was not able to do that 2 weeks earlier.
Well, you have a system in place with Tom Brady.
You can keep saying it's a system. Prove that it's a system.
And
Tom Brady did it with
and also Tom Brady had to rely on that last play of Malcolm Butler. If it wasn't for that play, Tom Brady would not have won that game. The Patriots would not have won that game.
That's such a bad way to look at a game.
Dude, you're at the 2-yard line. It's second down.
One play does not make a whole game. If Tom Brady hadn't thrown 4 touchdowns,
in a whole game does not determine the greatest of all time.
What?
One game does not determine the greatest
I know,
of all
but
time.
Don't you think that's kind of a fair perspective? Like, you look at Aaron Rodgers play in a super important game against that defense, and you see what he did, except he had better weapons. He had one of the best receiving cores all time and a fantastic offensive line and a good run game. And then you get to see what Tom Brady did against that team. Pretty sure, that season the Patriots did not have a 500-yard rusher.
Mm-hmm. And that's also based off one game.
They did not have...
Tom Brady did have weapons.
Yeah, but he had Julian Edelman and Gronk. He had Julian Edelman, Gronk, and a worse run game and a worse offensive line. I would take
LeGarrette Blount? James White. Those are
Yeah, they did not have good seasons.
but those are good run games though.
LeGarrette Blount's all right. James White hasn't done anything.
James White can catch and run.
He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything.
James White is versatile.
He hasn't done anything.
So wait,
like you're trying to compare him. You're like, yeah, Tom Brady has such a great offense. Like he had a like running backs that could not even get 500 yards throughout the season. I think LeGarrette Blount was all right.
That's because they were sharing the ball a lot.
No, James White was the receiving back. LeGarrette Blount was the main running back that season.
He was the main running back, but there was more distribution between those two.
Every team has that. Every team has that.
Eddie Lacy had it way more. Like there was less distribution of the football at
but
running back.
even that game, Eddie Lacy averaged more yards per carry than both of the Patriots running backs.
So you're relying heavy on the passing game at that point.
Yeah, compared to
you can't even rely on the run
more
game.
Evenly balanced run.
You have to rely on the. You can't even rely on the run game.
You can have a more evenly balanced offensive scheme when you have a good running back.
But in that case, it's
and
all pass.
maybe it wasn't even Eddie Lacy. Maybe it was the fact that run offensive line was so good that opened alleys up for Eddie Lacy.
No.
And that's why he performed well.
No, not a rush. No, not a rush offense. We were good at
Eddie Lacy against that
pass
Seahawks.
blocking.
Eddie Lacy against that Seahawks defense had 97 yards, I believe. They had 170 or 160 total rushing yards on the Seahawks defense, so it was a pretty good run game.
Yeah,
that's
a pretty
good.
good run game.
I mean,
almost 100 yards just Eddie Lacy by himself.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Whereas when LeGarrette Blount had 40 yards, I believe, on Tom Brady.
What during
40 yards in the Super Bowl, I think. I have to double check that. But let's see.
Let's shine some light on
Let's shine some light, but try to not interrupt each other as much.
So we're talking about two big games. We're talking about the Super Bowl and the NFC Championship, but only two games does not determine.
It does not determine a whole career. No.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't.
I was just using
that career.
I was just using that as a way to look at what
that goes against consistency as well too.
It puts them in. It takes away some of the variables because you can be like, look how Aaron Rodgers did this season, but like they played completely different teams. But like using that example showed what Aaron Rodgers could do with a better offense than against that really good defense compared to what Tom Brady could do with a less good offense against that really good defense.
Could you also make an argument, though, since the Patriots had an extra week to prepare, though, since it was a 2-week layoff before the Super Bowl, do you think in that sense that might have helped them prepare a better game plan to put up those yards against the Seahawks since they had that extra week? Or do you think that might have not played too big of a difference?
I don't think it played too big of a difference. I don't think it played too big of a difference. But
it can, though.
It can, but I don't think it made because the how each quarterback performed.
That was a good point, Scott.
How each quarterback performed was so different. If it was close, I'd be like, yeah. But Tom Brady had over 200 yards more passing, or no, he had almost 200 yards more passing. He had 3 more touchdowns. So I just think.
Did he throw an interception that game?
Yeah, he had 2.
He had 2.
Same as Aaron Rodgers. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so we're done with that topic of discussion. With that aspect of the GOAT. What about Aaron Rodgers when he was gone in the year 2017? I think that shed a whole new light on how much the team sucked without
that UCLA quarterback. Oh God,
Brett Hundley.
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
I think it is
because I think any team would fall apart.
That was a really big.
If you put someone like Brett Hundley in, I think no matter what, Brett Hundley was just not good at all. No.
Yeah,
it would be. I think it would have been a very different story if you had someone at least
But if you're telling me,
Aaron Rodgers is obviously important to his team.
But yeah, okay. But if you're telling me that almost losing to the defeated Browns, 0-16 Browns that year, 2017, you're telling me that Aaron Rodgers has had a great team, and a team is supposed to be the success factor of wins. It's supposed to be the factor of wins.
What was the Packers' final record that year?
Oh, they had 6 wins. So
Sounds
like that's
about right.
that's because it was 1 Brett Hundley win and 5 Aaron Rodgers wins. So Aaron Rodgers
Yeah, he went out in the season.
he was forced to run a table. He got stopped by the Panthers, who were pretty decent, but he won. Well, no, like they took him out after those games, but still, he still won 6 games that year, being out for the majority of the fucking season. And it just shows how bad he's been working, how bad the team he's been working with all of his career. That team really, like that 2017 team really has not changed from 2016, 2015.
But isn't there issues with Aaron Rodgers? Isn't there issues with Aaron Rodgers in terms of leadership and being a total team player? I mean, you could say maybe the coach Mike McCarthy in terms might have been a bit of a problem, but I've heard testimonials and points that say Aaron Rodgers isn't the complete team player as opposed to somebody like Tom Brady in terms of, you know, I'm going to do what it takes for the team, pay cuts like
Tom
that.
Brady definitely brings out the motivation.
The team
motivation.
aspect.
Yes.
In some regards, Aaron Rodgers, you could say, probably really lacks that.
I wouldn't say so. I think Tom Brady does a good job with bringing the team together before the game and during the game. Aaron Rodgers, I don't think is good at bringing the game.
So wouldn't you say that really falls into leadership? And when you have a component like leadership,
falls into leadership. But
so wouldn't you say?
But there have been great leaders. There have been great leaders who absolutely fucking sucked. Look at Tim Tebow. He was a great leader on his Broncos team, getting the hype up and everything and trying to bring his teammates up when he was on the Broncos. But he didn't do much. You can have great leadership, but you can suck as a player.
Yeah, but that's like you can point that out too. But that's why you don't take leadership fully into who's a GOAT. Like it's just a little piece. Like these are all little pieces.
Little. It's really small though.
Yeah, I think leadership's important. But
being more of a team player, I would say Brady might have that aspect better than
especially
Rodgers.
as a quarterback. I think if we're talking receiver, like I don't think leadership is as important. I think Jerry Rice was special. I think Larry Fitzgerald is special. I think but like I think receivers can also be kind of divas, like most receivers are,
We've seen
and
that.
get away with it. But when you're the quarterback, you're the most.
It's harder to be a
important-
diva.
You're the most important position on the
But we
field.
still
I
see
think
it.
leadership
But the
is
thing
very
is,
important.
Aaron Rodgers, even currently right now, he has one Devontae Adams, and he has a second and third string receivers. He has a good offensive line.
He's got a decent
and
running
he's got
back.
a decent. He's got a good running back.
Very good.
He's got a very good
Very
running
good.
back.
I gave his autograph away.
But
damn it.
his defense is decent, and like the record shows it. Like the record shows that this is gonna be a successful team, but the majority of it, I'm saying, is coming from Aaron Rodgers. But I'm not a person that believes. that the quarterback is a significant importance to a team.
Why is that? Elaborate.
Because there's a lot more aspects to a team. You need your teammates in order to be
But
good.
you agree that it's the most important position on the field. You just don't think it's as valuable.
I just don't think it's significant to an offensive.
What
guard.
else would you put on that whole? Would you put O line on that level?
I would put O line, and then I would put linebacker, and then I would do defensive end, and then kicker. I think somewhere kicker's probably next after.
What about
and running
punter?
back-
Punter,
no.
you got to have a good field position.
No,
Punter's really
running back
important.
would be over kicker, but kicker is like in the top 5.
I
top
don't think
6.
linebacker is that important.
Linebacker is very important. I would much
Seahawks
rather
have
a
one of the-
prime Ray Lewis than an Aaron Donald, but we're not getting into that.
An
right now.
think it's
example.
punter.
I just have to use an example real fast of why it's not important. The Seahawks have one of the best linebacker cores this season, and yet they're on pace to be the worst defense of all time.
They're probably not being used. The best
KJ
way.
Wright, Bobby Wagner, they're being used.
They still got players.
They're being used, and they're
being
performing.
used, but they're probably not being used.
and they're performing
the right
well.
way.
So don't you say Pete Carroll all the time is such a great defensive mind? Why wouldn't he be using him the right way?
I don't know if he's keeping up right now. I mean, Mike McCarthy was great like the first couple seasons, but he shit the bed afterwards. I'm not saying that Pete Carroll is all great all the time and is being consistent with it.
Most important on defense, at least, is your pass rush. Because
At least Bill Belichick has been consistent with the same quarterback all these years.
But he doesn't have the same quarterback anymore.
No.
But he doesn't have the
And
same
now that he
quarterback
doesn't,
right now.
he's falling
I mean,
apart.
yeah, the whole team is falling apart, and it's single-handedly
It's not Cam Newton's fault.
Cam Newton. Yes,
It's
it is,
not.
and it's also
Cam
and you want to know
Newton-
what? You want to know what? It probably is Bill Belichick because he's not used to that system. He's not used to that kind of quarterback style.
Yeah, but even the defense isn't playing well. Like, they're all right, but they're not playing.
It's not the Patriots team of old.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going through a rebuild.
Yeah, and like it's not Cam Newton's fault. It's because Bill Belichick did not
The
prepare.
Patriots are shook right now. It's shook. Hey, if Aaron Rodgers left the Green Bay Packers, it would be the same shit. No, it'd be the same shit, man.
I think depending on who they got, I think they'd be all right.
I would not want Cam Newton.
I think their offense would still be all right because they have a far better offensive line than the Patriots have, and they have even just having Devontae Adams compared to what the Patriots have this year.
That's when Belichick's stinginess.
Phil Rivers
really
would not.
hurts
Phil
him.
Rivers is on a very good team, and he's still blown games for the Colts.
Yeah, but yeah, Philip Rivers is nothing like Tom Brady though.
They're
Like,
similar. They're similar size. They're both
similar
pocket passers.
Very similar.
Talent-wise,
play
they're not similar.
Talent-wise, no.
Tom Brady's far
Tom Brady.
ahead,
Yeah, Tom Brady is
obviously,
definitely much
but
better than
that's
Philip
the point
Rivers.
I'm making, though. I'm
But
saying
Rivers was no slouch either.
no, but that's the point I'm making. I think Bill Belichick relies heavily on having a good quarterback, but I don't think he'd be able to perform well with an average quarterback, and I would consider Philip Rivers an average quarterback right now.
I mean, he got to the Super Bowl with what the hell was his name in 2000? Brady was a backup.
Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe. He got to the Super Bowl with Drew Bledsoe.
Did they get there in 2000? I don't think so. Drew Bledsoe got injured week 1 of the 2001 season, and that's when Tom Brady took over, and then he took him to the Super Bowl.
I recant my statement.
Yeah, because that's another thing I forgot to bring up too. That Patriots defense or that Patriots team in 2000, they were a 5-win team. They were 5-11, and then as soon as Brady takes over, that's when the team takes off.
Yeah,
had that really big win against the Rams in that Super Bowl. The what was that Rams team called? Like the greatest show on turf.
Yeah. So that's the thing, though. You can't give Bill a majority of the credit like you do. You pretty much give.
I think you think that I give Belichick more of the
credit than Brady.
Brady. More than you think. I'm not saying that. I'm saying Bill Belichick is minded, like his mind is much better than Tom Brady's by a little bit. I think it's like a 51-49.
Maybe he is, but what I'm saying
difference.
is credit for the Patriots dynasty success. A majority.
I will have to give credit to Brady. Absolutely.
That's not what you've said in the past, though. You've said, especially up before this
season. You have
season,
said in the past that Belichick was the
sole reason. You said Brady's success was due to Bill Belichick.
You've been saying that since 2018.
Yeah, at least.
Well, I mean, now I'm seeing now I'm seeing Bill Belichick not doing.
You did.
So
I think
great
you have.
Right now,
I think you
so
have. I think your opinion. I think has changed though. I think you have mentioned this because Brady's on the Buccaneer and you're seeing what he's
every
doing.
time
No. It's not seeing what Brady. It's not seeing what Brady is doing because Brady has a super team right now. I'm saying what Bill Belichick. He's not adaptable to change. He can't handle change. Once he gets one thing going, he needs that.
But you did used to say Belichick was the reason. So what changed that?
Bill Belichick
not being successful. I think Bill Belichick's adaptability decreases after Brady has left, which leads me to think that it was more so than like say a 75-25, like a 75 Belichick and a 25 Brady. It's more so like a 50-50 Brady-Belichick. I think Belichick needs Brady just as much as Brady, if he did not be on the Tampa Bay, needs Belichick.
I don't think so. I think if anything, it would be 75 Brady, 25 Bill.
Brady's handling himself pretty well
Brady's
right now.
fine. No matter what situation he's thrown in, when the defense doesn't perform, Brady still finds ways to win. When the offensive line hasn't been good, Brady found ways to win. when Julian Edelman and Josh Gordon were both suspended that season, and Brady's top receiver was Brandon LaFell.
That
He found ways to win.
That suspension from Edelman was bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, but did he find ways to win, or did Bill Belichick
I think
and
Brady
the Patriots team find
I think
ways
Brady
to
did, because if it was
I don't think
Belichick,
so,
if it
man.
was Belichick, why isn't he finding ways to win right now?
Because it's a totally different play style.
Because he
totally
needs
different play style.
needs to have a great quarterback.
He needs a great quarterback that can throw.
So then you're not that great of a coach.
Cam
You're
Newton
not that
can't-
great of a coach if you need a great quarterback.
He doesn't,
because coaches win
he
without
lacks,
great quarterbacks.
He lacks adaptability, and that's a big thing to measure on with greatest coach of all time.
Tom
I think
Brady.
it is, but that's
And I still don't even consider the Tampa Bay team this year a
but
super
you don't.
team.
The
I
thing
think
is,
when you
the thing
think
is, you don't need adaptability when you have the same thing every fucking year for 20 fucking years.
Yeah,
I mean, the
You don't-
Steelers,
you
the
don't need
Steelers are
adaptability.
the Steelers are undefeated. Wouldn't you say they're more of a super team?
Yeah, I would say, but here's the thing too. You brought up the thing about how bad the Packers team
It's
was,
just the point.
and you were like, they almost lost to the 0-16 Browns. The Steelers just almost lost to the Cowboys. So like weird shit happens. Weird shit happens some
Okay,
weeks.
when
That's
you say
not-
that word-
The Giants
Hon,
almost lost to the
hon,
Buccaneers.
hon,
The Buccaneers
hon,
almost
hon,
lost to the
hon,
Giants.
hon,
Yeah,
hon,
yeah, the
hon,
Buccaneers
hon,
got
hon,
really close to
hon,
losing to the
hon,
Giants.
hon, wouldn't you say that weird shit happens with the NFC Championship game and
No.
and
if something
weird
happen-
things happen, so you can't go based
Yeah,
off
but that was
of
not
one game.
weird. That was not weird. I'm not going
It
off
was
one game. I'm
weird.
not saying.
Are you fucking kidding
I'm not
me?
saying.
A botched special teams.
No,
That's,
I'm not saying.
It doesn't get any
I'm
weirder
not
than
saying
that.
that was a weird. I'm not saying that was like that determines Rodgers' like greatness. I just say it's fair to compare Rodgers' performance against that defense in a suspenseful, important game to Tom Brady just 2 weeks later against that same defense in an important game.
Where weird things happen when you get an interception at the 2-yard
Yeah,
line.
but the thing with that too is the defense.
Weird things
the thing
happen,
with that
man.
too, though,
Yeah,
is
you
the
can't base it
defense.
off of one
the
game.
defense performed so well that game that Rodgers had so many opportunities. He got the ball. The defense got him the ball 4 times in the red zone.
Going up against the greatest defense,
But still,
that season.
Not to get it in one time out of 4 chances.
He only got it in once. But say
But,
he had
yeah,
say
out of
he
4
had
times.
there was one play I remember in that game too. Jordy Nelson was wide open and Aaron Rodgers overthrew it. That would have won the game. If he had not overthrown that pass, that would have won the game. There were multiple instances like that in the game where Aaron Rodgers just messed up open plays he had. And that's what loses. When your defense gets you the ball 4 times in the red zone and you're the GOAT, you need to take advantage of all those opportunities and score at least 3 touchdowns, especially when going up against a team like the Seahawks. That's why I say Aaron Rodgers is the one that lost it, because I don't consider a onside kick at the end, like the guy missing it, that didn't lose the game.
But that's 2 consecutive drives that Aaron Rodgers is out in the fourth quarter. You can't really measure Aaron Rodgers' clutchness, which is important in determining the GOAT, when you have 2 consecutive.
Okay, but Aaron
times
Rodgers
out.
got the ball with 3 timeouts left and 1 minute and 40 seconds left, down by 3, and all he was able to do was score a field goal and get it into overtime.
So what
if
he
he was
had,
the GOAT, he would have ended it right there. He had his opportunity.
So what he had he had like 2 chances in the fourth quarter, while Russell Wilson and company had like 3
Okay,
or 4.
but I don't know for sure how many drives he got in the fourth quarter. All I do know is he had the last drive. He had the final drive, and if he had scored a touchdown there, my opinion of him would be completely different. I think that was a really big
How much
opportunity.
time did he have in the final drive?
Right here, I'm telling you.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Look,
Ease up.
I'm showing you. Right here.
Get back to your corners and come out fighting.
Look how much time's left?
So you have Green Bay down 19.
To 22.
Seahawks up 22. Oh wait,
Aaron
that's the
Rodgers
first
has
play.
1:25 left with 3 timeouts.
First down. First down there. All right, next play.
2014, right? Yeah.
All right, another great play. Another first down. Okay. All right, he's in field goal range.
Yeah. had a minute and 25, and he settled for a field goal. He had the final drive. He could have.
But that was the final drive that he was able to get points on.
Yeah.
So you can't say that he didn't do what you can't say that he didn't do his job at the end.
But his argument is he had time to go in for a touchdown. He could have iced the game, and they would have been in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, but he did what was asked of him in the final drive.
No, what was asked of him was to win the game, but he had to settle for a field goal.
Most quarterbacks in that position, I would see probably going for the
quarterback's job is not to win the game. That's the team. That's a whole team. That's a team
but the
as
quarterback,
a whole.
But the quarterback puts that team in the position to win the game.
Yes,
but that's the point. The point I'm trying to bring up is like, I feel like a great quarterback would do that and would do what's asked of him, but like a GOAT would have won the game there, or would have found a way to win in overtime. And I get it, Russell Wilson scored right away, but he had so many opportunities throughout that game.
There's 19 seconds left. 19 seconds
with
left.
Two timeouts left.
You're on 30. You're in the 35-yard line. You're on the 35-yard line.
So it took him almost a minute just to drive downfield. One.
Okay. All right.
And he was still at the 35-yard line. He could have gone for the touchdown. There was what did you just say? 25 seconds left?
19.
He still had two timeouts. They could have thrown it over the center. He played it safe. I don't like that. I understand playing it safe, but sometimes playing it safe comes back to bite you.
Okay.
For example, the Vikings game.
Okay.
Remember how?
No. I want to stick to this game.
No, I know, but no, I'm talking about Vikings Seahawks this season. Remember how the Vikings decided to run it on fourth down rather than just take the points?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's a time where like hindsight is 44 or 2020. Like if they had just taken those points, Seahawks probably would have lost that game.
Okay.
But they played it risky. But in this situation, Aaron Rodgers should have played it risky.
Okay.
It's the championship game too.
You want to know what? Aaron Rodgers, when it's his call, he does play it risky. Who was the coach during that time? McCarthy. Yeah. McCarthy is a very conservative coach. You don't think that was a call made by McCarthy?
I have no clue.
Well, then you can't say that it was Aaron Rodgers.
I have no clue.
You can't say that it was Aaron Rodgers. Then you can't say that Aaron Rodgers singularly pooped that game because it could have been Mike McCarthy making that call, and it's most likely that it was McCarthy because of how conservative he has been as a coach. And you see Aaron Rodgers after McCarthy being risky as hell, going down, playing fourth down all the fucking time.
Aaron Rodgers has been a lot less risky and a lot less.
Are you fucking kidding me?
He's been less centered around that offense. Mike McCarthy Matt LaFleur has taken that like focal point away from Aaron Rodgers and become more of a split run pass game rather than when Mike McCarthy was the coach. When Mike McCarthy was the coach, it was all pass game and it was all Aaron Rodgers throwing. Having more of a run game, I consider more conservative.
Who makes the call at the very end with the 19 seconds? You don't think Aaron Rodgers said, "Hey, we have two timeouts. Let's take 2 plays, 3 plays,
Neither
and make
of us
a touchdown."
know.
So you can't say that it was Aaron Rodgers for that game. You keep bringing up that it's Aaron Rodgers for that game. Now you're saying you don't even fucking know. You don't know.
No.
Now you're saying you don't know.
No, for that final drive, I don't know if Mike McCarthy said play it conservative. I don't know. You don't know if it was Aaron Rodgers doing it. I do know that the defense got him 5 turnovers, 4 in the red zone, and Aaron Rodgers could not score a touchdown.
We're talking about clutchness with the last seconds of the game. Now we're going with the whole game with 4 interceptions.
No, I'm saying you're saying you're making it seem like I'm saying this was the sole reason why they lost. I'm not saying that's the whole reason.
But we were talking about
because I think him not scoring the touchdowns or not scoring more touchdowns when his defense got him the ball in the red zone also plays a role. But yeah, I don't know. I think they.
Well, then you can't say that it was Aaron Rodgers.
But you also can't say
it's a team as a whole.
You can't say it's not Aaron Rodgers either, though.
Yeah, but I'm saying it was the team, though. I'm
putting a majority of the blame on Aaron Rodgers for the game as a whole.
I'm not being ignorant and saying that it was one sole purpose for person for the loss. I'm saying it was a team as a whole.
I'm putting
it was not Aaron Rodgers.
Well,
you can't say Aaron Rodgers because you don't know if that was the play. You don't know if that was the play.
It's always a team as a whole. But what I'm saying is for this loss in general, who I give a majority of the blame to for the loss is Aaron Rodgers.
Even with the final seconds, you're saying that it was Aaron Rodgers when Aaron Rodgers was looking
I'm
hot
not saying,
that whole time and was capable
I'm
of
not
making
saying,
the touchdown.
I'm not saying it was Aaron Rodgers' call.
One at a time.
You're going to say that maybe McCarthy made a call and said, play it's conservative, let's just get a kick off. When it could have been Aaron Rodgers that won that game.
I'm not saying that it was I'm not saying it was Aaron Rodgers not being clutch, or it was his call to not go for it for a touchdown at the end. But I'm saying if he was more reliable and they felt more comfortable with him, I think they would have gone for it. And two, I don't blame that as the sole purpose for the loss. I think the main reason the Packers lost that game was because they were not able to capitalize. Aaron Rodgers specifically was not able to capitalize on more of those turnovers that he got where he got the ball in the red zone.
It's hard to capitalize when you're going up against Legion of Boom, and you're also in the fourth quarter clutching it at the very end, putting points on the board against the Legion of Boom. So you can't say that Aaron Rodgers had a blown game when you can see on the fucking film that he was blowing through that Legion of Boom at the very end. He was playing clutch.
All right, so we got into that portion of the topic done. I got 2 final questions for each of you guys, and then we'll wrap it up to the night. So, based on how you guys feel about each other's, the opponent, you, Morgan, Aaron Rodgers, you, Brendan, Tom Brady, where would you guys respectfully put them on your list? If they're not the greatest of all time, where would they rank? Brendan, I'm going to start with you. For Tom Brady, where would he rank on your list if he's not the greatest of all time?
Tom Brady will definitely be in my top 10.
What number exactly?
Hold on, I'm going to explain Tom Brady. Tom Brady is, in fact, the most accomplished quarterback of all time. I will give him that. And I feel like to have that on your name, you have to be somewhere in top 10, being accomplished as a quarterback, and also being a big factor in the Patriots' success. I do give him that too. However, he's been playing the same way all these years with under Bill Belichick, and now he's on a super team of Tampa Bay right now.
You in that super team
with
I still really don't consider.
Let him finish his point.
But people want to say, oh, Tom Brady is going to a different team, whatever. But the one team that he goes on, he's in the top 5. He's in the top 5. Hold on, he's in the top 5 defense and all this stuff. He is definitely in my top 10, and I'm going to have to rank him 6.
6, why
Who
6?
would you put ahead of him?
I would put Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Russell Wilson.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Young. Drew Brees. And I don't want to say Brett Favre. Don't want to say Peyton Manning.
Hit us with an out of field out of.
I mean,
nowhere
I
one.
would put. No, I can't. I can't even see Patrick Mahomes because he's still young in the league. In the league.
You said Mahomes. I would have looked at you with him.
I would put. Let's see.
Just say you'll put Brady at 5. You obviously can't think of someone else.
No. But
he doesn't want to put him in the top.
I don't want to put him in the top 5 at all.
Biased.
I'm gonna go with Brett Favre.
Didn't
Top
you say touchdown interception ratio was really important for you? Brett Favre had an absolutely terrible one.
So you're putting him
yeah.
Are you putting him in at 6 or top 5?
What?
He put Brett Favre at 5 yet.
Brett Favre at 5.
He put Brett Favre at 5
Brady
yet.
at 6.
He says that touchdown interception ratio is really important.
It's
for him.
important, but
Brett Favre had a god awful.
Yeah,
one.
I know. Brett Favre is terrible, but he's also been on 3 separate teams. One on the Jets, terrible Jets team, but he was also he also made it work on the Minnesota Vikings, getting into the NFC conference and turning a decent team into a good team with him being as just being a quarterback. Also, he has incredible milestones. And on top of that, he's also a much more riskier quarterback.
What's his milestones?
I think touchdowns.
Tom Brady's leading him in that.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, yeah. Tom Brady has.
So wouldn't
Tom Brady is leading, but the thing is, Brett Favre has been good. I mean, Tom Brady has been good being old, but he also plays a different game than Tom Brady does.
You're really struggling here to put Brett Favre above him.
Hey, I mean, it's flip flop.
Regardless,
right
we'll say Brady at 6.
I think it's really close.
We'll say Brady at 6. Okay, now
Just
Morgan.
because, wait, hold on. Just because Brett Favre has been on 2 different teams and made them good, Tom Brady really hasn't. Like, he's made the Patriots good, but he also had to rely with Bill Belichick, and now he's on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where it's like a super team with the defense. Brett Favre has been starting on the Packers when they sucked, started on the Minnesota Vikings when they sucked, and made them good.
All right, I'm gonna make.
He also played on the Jets too. Don't forget.
I'm gonna make my response to that, and then I'll answer your question.
Okay.
I don't consider the Bucs a super team. They have pretty much the same roster as last year, and yet they were 8-8. Yeah.
They also had Jameis Winston.
Yeah, who led the league in touchdowns
and interceptions.
Touchdowns and interceptions.
Yeah,
so,
terrible touchdown.
But still,
ratio.
Jameis. But still, like, obviously, if it was that big of a super team, it would have taken even a quarterback like Jameis Winston.
You don't think that with Jameis Winston, like, he had to rely on Mike Evans and Chris Godwin?
No, I'm sure he did.
Well,
but I don't think. But I think
with
it's
that
been
many
different.
Touchdowns and that many interceptions.
Yeah, but I think it's been different this season.
Being a bad quarterback and relying on those touchdowns.
Yeah, but
with those receivers.
But those receivers
were
that
Tom Brady has.
Yeah, but those receivers were healthier. O.J. Howard healthy all season. Mike Evans, I think, missed a game or 2, but he wasn't injured much, and Chris Godwin was healthy all season.
You can still
this season, Mike Evans has been playing with a groin injury. So he's been playing, so I won't take him like completely out. I just think that's notable, and that's a big reason why he's only had like 2 games where he's had more than like 7 targets.
Aaron Rodgers.
Then Chris Godwin has missed more games than he's played this season, and O.J. Howard injured. Gronk was not able to play more than like 10 snaps up until week 6, I think, because they were still conditioning him because he had awful last season because he retired. Then I also think what was I gonna say?
I thought the audio stopped recording.
Yeah, I got distracted because you started, and now I forgot what I was gonna say. Tom Brady didn't have an offseason to prepare with these guys, so it's his first season with them
because of COVID. He did, like, a lot of times when a quarterback comes to a new team, they at least get the offseason practice and stuff to mini camps,
to like build some chemistry with them. But the only offseason they were allowed to have in mini camps and all
virtual.
That was virtual. Yeah, so I think that's really impressive that he's been able to like play as well as he had while being on a completely new team and a completely new offseason or offense without having that
you're not able
time to adjust.
You can't really build chemistry over video.
Yeah, it just has to kind of happen now during the season. So I think that's also very impressive, and I don't think you're giving him enough credit in terms of him doing well on this team. But then I also think
I'm giving him credit. He's a good quarterback. Like,
yeah, but you're saying like whenever we're like
a great quarterback.
Yeah, but whenever we're like whenever we're like, wow, it's really it's impressive. He's at 43 years old playing well on a completely new team. You're saying you just keep saying it's because he's on a super team.
No, not.
Or you're
not
at least giving a lot of credit to the fact that you're considering it a super team. I don't consider it a super team. Maybe if they were all healthy, I would. But there's been so many injuries throughout the season with every team, but even the Buccaneers, that I don't really consider it. And I think he's been able to adjust really well. He's had to make plays to Scotty Miller and Tyler Johnson, who are no-name receivers, and he's done it, and he's done well. So Tom Brady, though, is way higher on my list than yours just because of his longevity. He's done it for so many years. He's been consistent. He has the record for most touchdown passes thrown to different receivers. And then you said Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers. As much as I love Russell Wilson, he can't be above Tom Brady, and he can't even be in the top 5 yet. Same thing with Aaron Rodgers because they haven't had enough longevity. Because the thing is, if they both had career-ending injuries this week, they would not be in that top 5. You wouldn't be able to put them in that top 5. So
no, I wouldn't.
So no, you couldn't.
Yeah, I would.
No, because that's like Calvin Johnson too. Calvin Johnson, most dominant receiver ever, But Calvin Johnson only did it for 8 seasons. He did not do it long enough and build up enough of a resume and have that longevity and consistency over that long period of a time being the best. So that's why he's not number 1.
He's also a receiver. How long do receivers really go for?
Jerry Rice had 14 Jerry Rice had 14 1,000-yard seasons.
Okay, that's one player that's been successful all
Well, yeah, that's why you put
years,
Jerry Rice as the GOAT in terms of receiver.
Okay.
Now, I don't want to get too off tangent with that.
Yeah, so where would I rank Aaron Rodgers?
Yes.
I would put my list is Tom Brady, then Drew Brees. The fact that you have Drew Brees ahead of Tom Brady too doesn't really make sense because Tom Brady's been more successful, yet he's had very similar stats and they've had very similar situations. Drew Brees has pretty much had Sean Payton his whole career, who's a very good coach.
Very good coach.
They both had there's been seasons where Drew Brees has not had great offensive weapons, but there's also been seasons like the last 3 or 4
bounty scandal.
Yeah, so they're very.
But that's a team. That's not Drew Brees.
Yeah, and same thing with Tom Brady. The thing happened with the Patriots and Bill Belichick. I don't like we just said. We came to the conclusion that Deflategate was kind of bullshit.
No, it's not. We did not come to that conclusion.
So I put Tom Brady 1,
Brees.
then Brees. I think Brees had that longevity, and Brees has won with bad teams. He's had some very bad teams. But you can't put Brees above Brady.
Yeah, you can.
No, you can't.
Yeah, you can.
And then 3, I think Peyton Manning.
I think you're just blind with the rings that Tom Brady has.
I'm not because I just said
a lot of people.
You and I were talking about it last night. You said where would you rank Tom Brady if he only had 1 ring, and I said I'd still put him at number 1. It's not the rings for me. It's how long he's done it, how consistent he's been. That he's been able to do it for such a long time with so many different players and so many different players. And then
under a system. Okay.
You can keep saying under a system.
Everyone says under the system.
Okay, so you got 3 Peyton, 4.
4 I would do Joe Montana, I think.
5.
John Elway.
Okay.
6 Dan Marino.
Yeah, that's a good
7.
Pick. Oh yeah, I forgot about Dan. I'll put Dan Marino at 5.
7 I think I would do Brett Favre. 8. Oh, I forgot. 5 I'd do Otto Graham and then move everyone else back.
Otto Graham.
Yeah. And then I would do 9 Russell Wilson and then 10 Rodgers. I put Russell Wilson ahead of Rodgers because Russell Wilson has been able, at least up to this point, it could change, but Russell has been able to stay healthy his whole entire season, where Aaron Rodgers has had, I think, 5 or 6 seasons where he's missed at least 1 game due to injury, and that has a big impact. Also with Tom Brady's only had 1 season where he missed time due to injury.
And they still, yeah.
Yeah, so that plays a big role, like being there for your team and being able to stay healthy. Or that has a big impact on my decision. For
Aaron Rodgers has a bounty on his head. People want to get rid of him more than Tom Brady.
You have no proof to that. That's
I see. Ndamukong Suh. There you go. There's your proof.
All right, so we know now.
Ndamukong Suh's a scumbag to everyone.
Okay,
He's
but
done that
it's
to
still
many
proof,
other
though.
players.
It's still proof.
He's done it to other players.
It's still proof, though.
He's done it to other players. So I consider Aaron Rodgers more.
To Tom Brady?
I consider Aaron Rodgers
to great
more,
quarterbacks? No,
yes,
he hasn't.
He's
What
done
place did you give Aaron Rodgers again? 9?
10.
10, okay.
And I put Russell Wilson at 9. I think they'll both move up the list.
When it's all said and done.
Yeah, but the reason why I have Russell ahead of Aaron Rodgers right now is because of the health. He's been able to stay
Adaptability.
healthier. Sure. I think Russell Wilson has been more successful on a lot less talented teams.
Well, that's what I'm saying, adaptability.
Yeah. And then I also think Russell Wilson's been far more clutch. I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson has played, I think, 5 less seasons than Aaron Rodgers, and yet he's already passed him in comebacks. He's passed him in game-winning drives. Russell Wilson already has like the record, or Russell Wilson has the most game-winning drives since 2012 when he entered the league. So Russell Wilson's just been,
And he's on pace to possibly break Peyton Manning's record.
yeah, right this season right now. If he did that, that would move him up far because that's a big
That's a
milestone.
couple of notches,
That's an
yeah.
accomplishment.
Maybe not necessarily top 5, but 6, 7.
He'd be moving up for me. But yeah, and I mean the thing is though, they can both fall back and they can both move forward. I just think it's too early in either of their careers. They haven't had enough longevity and consistency yet to put them above some of these other
Especially
guys.
in wrestles, because at least...
Well, Rodgers is only, he's been in the league 16 years,
Oh,
but
5.
he had 3 years to learn.
08 is when he started, yep.
Yep.
So that gives you a bit of an edge. You learn behind Brett Favre for 3 years.
Learn behind Brett Favre is not a valid statement. Brett Favre did come out saying that he did not teach Aaron Rodgers anything.
Even if that's so, just being on the field, watching in practices, learning behind the coaches, I think it's a lot more stressful.
Be in those meetings, all the quarterbacks.
I think exactly. You learn stuff and you become more comfortable with the team. You are able to get some form of chemistry with them. I think it's a lot tougher to come in your rookie season and take over for the franchise right away week 1, which Russell Wilson did.
So even with the lowest experience of, like, say, just not being on the field and learning from coaches and things like that is very useful and helpful in determining who's, well, not determining who's great, but, like, seeing if you are a great quarterback, I guess.
What if they're able to come right on the field and
be like on, like, so, like, even like a low, like, it doesn't even need to be benched, but even like being on the field and being around football players and things like that is even, you know.
I mean, I think it would depend because Tom Brady, I'm pretty sure his first season he was on the practice squad. So, like, I don't consider being on the practice squad like gaining experience. Mm-hmm. Because you're not around those head coaches or anything like that. You're kind of just sitting there waiting to get called up possibly.
But it is still a valuable experience, though.
I don't think you get enough. I mean, I'm sure it's better than just getting thrown out there, I guess. But I would still definitely choose Aaron Rodgers' position where you get to learn behind. For 3 years, you get to be around them. Like, they knew he was the quarterback of the future. So I would put that being the best possible situation.
Okay, so we now know exactly where you would place Brady and Rodgers on your guys' respective top 10s list.
Yeah, wait, hold on. I just want to fix mine. I'm going to say Dan Marino is 5.
All right, so Dan Marino. He took out Brett Favre. He took out Brett Favre at 5, put in Dan Marino. Okay, so now we know where you guys put them respectfully on your lists. Now, what would they have to do to now then make a jump to being considered the greatest of all time? Since we started with you last, Brendan, I'm going to have Morgan finish up, then I'll ask you.
Wait, so what would they have to do?
To be then considered the greatest of all time in your eyes. Yeah. And then Aaron Rodgers. So what would Aaron Rodgers have to do to be considered the greatest of all time in your eyes?
Morgan. I'd need to see him meet some of the milestones that Tom Brady has. Like Tom Brady... It's between Tom Brady and Drew Brees right now for who's leading in all-time touchdowns and all-time yards. If you include playoffs, Tom Brady has the lead in both. But in terms of just regular season, it's like going back and forth. So he would have to get up there. I think he's at 49,000 yards right now, and they're at like 76 and still going. So he would have to get up there for me by the end of his career. He'd have to get up to around wherever they end up finishing. I'd like to see him win at least another Super Bowl or 2. Super Bowls aren't the end all be all for me, but I think as long as he keeps having the help around him, like now he doesn't have a fantastic receiving core. He still has Devontae Adams, but he still has a good offensive line and an improving defense each year. So he has plenty of help. So I want to see him win Super Bowls. And then I would like to see his attitude change. I think that plays a big role for me. I think being a good leader plays a role. I think a lot of it has to do with the milestones and being able to consistently do it over a long period of time and for as many years as Drew Brees and Tom Brady and them have done it.
All right, so now I'll kick it over to you, Brendan. In your eyes, what would Tom Brady then have to do, respectfully, to then jump up to greatest of all time in your eyes and overtake Rodgers?
So milestones I think is stupid. I think as long as you have one milestone, I think that's a good reason to be in the top 10 or top 5, actually. But not have all these milestones. You don't need all these milestones to be considered the greatest of all time. Also, Super Bowl wins, I don't see that being a factor because that just shows that you have a great team around you.
But if they put great teams around him and he isn't able to win, then doesn't that lose some credibility for him? If he does have those great teams around him?
If he has great teams around him and he's making the Super Bowl,
it
still doesn't make him more.
If he has great teams around him, like say next season they have the top 5 offensive line, top 5 defense, and they still have Devontae Adams, and they get like one more decent receiver. Say he has that solid of a team, and they aren't able to win a Super Bowl. Doesn't that kind of hurt his legacy because he did have all that help around him?
I would say if he doesn't at least make it to the NFC Championship, then yeah, I would say that it like I think you have to get far into the playoffs. I don't necessarily think that you have to be in the Super Bowl. As you said, one game it like can be weird. Weird things can happen in one game. Yeah. I think that they were on pace of going to the Super Bowl when they lost against the Seahawks, but weird things happen. But hold on, Super Bowl wins. I don't see that being a factor as long as because Super Bowl wins is a team thing. We see that with Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco was not an elite quarterback. He was carried by the Ravens, defense, offense. They won the Super Bowl against the 49ers. It does not matter.
So what would Brady have to do?
So Brady would have time's running out for him. We see what we see what he's like.
I know, he still might have
right
2
now,
or 3 years.
Hold on. Yeah, so hold on. I would say if to prove to me that he is the GOAT, I will need him to not be on a super team, not be on Tampa Bay, go to like maybe a team like the Colts and see.
The Colts are really good too. They have like a top 5 offensive line and the number 1 defense.
Oh, okay. Well, like I'm talking about like Colts throughout like the past decade, not like the Colts now. I would say like their average in the past decade.
You should have specified that before you said it, though.
Okay. All right. Okay, let me think of a different team. Goes on a team like, I don't know, the Browns. Say he goes on the Browns, and he plays decent. Like he still has like the same stats that he pulls up and everything like that. He has less interceptions, more touchdowns. Plays the game smart. And makes it to say the playoffs, then I would give him the go. If he went to like the teams like a team like the Browns, and he played very well on he doesn't have to play very well because he's already old. He's still he
just has to play decent.
He
enough.
has to play decent enough,
and then you'll give him the greatest of all time.
Yes,
I feel like if we were talking about this a year ago, when Jameis Winston was on the Buccaneers would have been a team he named. He would have been like if Tom Brady goes to a team like the Buccaneers that's like 8-8 and they have potential, but they're not like fantastic.
Buccaneers weren't a top 5 defense. They didn't have Rob Gronkowski. They didn't acquire Antonio Brown.
Rob Gronkowski, you pretty much can just flip with OJ Howard. At least Rob Gronkowski at this age, because he's not the same Gronk. We all know that. But that defense was good last year.
Yeah, but not top 5.
It might have been.
Anyway, we're already at 2 hours. I don't want to keep this going for much longer. Definitely, this was very enjoyable. This went very much as I expected. Thank you guys for giving me about 2 hours of pure entertainment. Didn't feel tired at all because you guys gave me that entertainment. Wide awake.
Wait, Scott, before we go,
yes,
who's your GOAT?
My greatest of all time is Eli Manning. So, with that being said, Brendan, thank you always graciously for having me on. Thank you for me being the moderator, and thank you for everyone tuning in.
You were a great mediator, Scott. Thank you so much, and thank you for Morgan for debating with me tonight. It was a hell of a matchup. We're still gonna have.
We'll have plenty more.
We're gonna have plenty.
It'll never stop, and my phone will keep blowing up.
Yeah.
Literally, anytime we see like a Packers highlight or Tom Brady highlight, or
all right. Well, that wraps up with the GOAT debate. Hope you enjoyed, and
Tom Brady's the GOAT.
Aaron Rodgers is the GOAT, boys.
And
See you later.
Has been Stutter After Me, and we will catch you next time.
Aaron Rodgers has a small penis.
Tom Brady
so
kisses.
I like how we agree.
Tom Brady kisses.
Gardner Minshew has a better mustache
his kids
than
on the
Aaron
lips.
Rodgers.
I just find it really funny how we agreed to no interruptions, and you couldn't even do that.
Giselle is overrated.
Giselle's sexy.
What's the point of me being
overrated.
moderator?